It's the last panel, so we're going to kind of do things a little different. Keeping it pretty casual, we're going to kind of just run through some high-level bullet points on what you can do to market your potential. We're going to open it up to some questions and answers, and just kind of really help you as best as we possibly can as we kind of close out this session. I want to open up and do some introductions, and we'll start to my left, and we'll just kind of go down the line.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Sheldon Budd. If you haven't noticed, I am one of these things that's not like the other guy. And so I represent economic development here in rural Nevada, which hasn't been spoken of yet today. Oh, there we go. Okay. Do I need to start over and everybody catch that? Okay, so real quick, I'm Sheldon Budd. And I'm the Executive Director for the Northeastern Nevada Regional Development Authority, which pretty much means everything outside of Reno and Las Vegas. And so we have one opportunity zone up in our area, and it is 4,000 square miles. It is a rather large opportunity zone. And because it's rural in nature, it's very unique. And so we're presented with a few challenges when we're trying to market this one opportunity zone. But I'll be representing the economic development side of this panel.
Yeah, hi, Jim Sanford, Sac Harbor Advisors out of New York City. I'm a banker broker. I raise capital for individual real estate projects, both debt and equity part of the capital stack. I also raise capital for institutional funds, some of which are QOZ funds. I have a mandate from a nationwide diverse QOZ fund at the moment. The target audience there is RIAs and wealth managers. If you're a developer, our firm would put you in touch with an institutional audience of op-zone funds and family offices. Prior to that, I have worked for about 20 years on Wall Street at Credit Suisse and JP Morgan. The trading floor, trading liquid fixed income securities, and from that built up a pretty large roster of alternative fund clients that have moved into the liquid, private equity, and private debt space, and currently kind of leveraging off that 2-decade experience. And the QOZ space has really instigated a lot of activity. It's been pretty exciting. It's spurred a lot of business, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
My name is Mike Harris. I'm with a company called CRE Models. We do financial modeling, underwriting, and due diligence for real estate investment firms and developers. We've been doing it for about 10 years. We also have some software products that help streamline the process. So you can create great underwriting packages, create marketing packages, things like that to market your developments and investment opportunities to fund other pooled investment funds or to individual investors. We found that in a lot of cases, these opportunity zones has drawn people into unfamiliar areas that they may not be capable of communicating very well. The upsides of what they've got, so we help out with that.
I'm Dana Sakamikas, big long Greek last name, with Stonehill. We're part of the Peachtree Hotel Group. We're a vertically integrated hotel investment management platform. What does that mean? We're basically fund managers at the end of the day. We have several funds in-house, a couple on the Peachtree side for acquisitions. For our own account, we own and operate about 46 hotels, mostly select service, extended stay, compact full service, Hilton, Marriott, Starwood, Hyatt family of products. On the Stonehill side, we have a couple debt and pref equity funds, same strategy. About 51 investments on that side, and then we have our Qualified Opportunity Zone Fund. It is a real fund. It is fully formed. It has money in it. We have closed 2 joint venture equity transactions, ground up Fairfield Suites in St. Louis, and a ground up AC hotel in downtown Phoenix, along with about 6 transactions within our own portfolio within various stages of development. And so I'm here to talk about from fund management, fund deployment perspective.
And last but not least, my name is Dave Silliman. I have a company called Easy Do It Opportunity Funds. We actually do a full turnkey opportunity fund creation services. Our clientele consists of typically family office, high net worth individuals, businesses looking to create an opportunity fund to grow and to expand into an opportunity zone. Some startups, but we've been responsible for building the second opportunity funds in the country, shortlisted by Silicon Review, one of the top 50 most trustworthy companies of the year. Have since gone on, developed a think approximately now, I think a sixth of all the opportunity funds in the market space, member of Forbes as well. And so we do a lot of writing and educating on opportunity funds, and really specifically at the end of the day, how to market your fund. And that's what we're going to be talking about on this panel. So I want to kind of start off with and kind of open it up, and I think we've got, you know, a use case example that we're going to run through, and we've got a couple bullet points. I think we want to kind of start off with some of the fundamentals on what it's going to take once you've got a fund set up to actually be successful and to actually market your fund. I would say fund management, I think would be the first one. I think would be a pretty critical one that we want to talk about, and so we'll start with that. And so what are your guys' thoughts on fund management, in-house, out-of-house, third party? Is it even needed at all from an opportunity fund standpoint?
You want to look at me, so I'll start. We were talking about this before time. So I'm glad we're having this discussion, and I'll get off my soapbox in a minute here, but there's been a lot of discussion about raising funds and not about deploying the funds and managing the funds, and it's important for a few obvious and not so obvious reasons. But we do, this is another tool in our toolbox for us, and an important tool, but like most of the rest of the private equity world, I've typically got a 3 to 5 year window for my investments. This gives me a 10-year window, provided I do everything right, 10 years plus. It allows me to underwrite to slightly lower IRR because of the tax benefits that I pick up on the back end. But you've got to do that within the regulations and guidelines. There's obviously, as everybody knows, some very specific guidelines. So I think you want to be just as careful, if not then, about someone's track record and about things like managing the fund itself. The stuff is basically staying in compliance with the guidelines, because if I don't keep my good and bad assets in balance, if I don't deploy my money within certain time frames, such as 31 months, and I know there's all sorts of caveats and what have you out there, but if I'm doing a lot of ground up stuff, it doesn't matter what your tax-free benefits are potentially on the back end. If your fund manager doesn't know what he or she is doing, doesn't deploy the funds right, doesn't manage the funds right, you get hit with a ton of penalties or worse. So how important is it? It's super important. To me, we do all of that in-house. Again, we've got about 70 professionals between people on the true money management side, deployment side, capital raising, and then large accounting and back office staff. So we've decided to take it in-house. Again, we have 2 funds on the Peachtree side, 2 on the Stonehill side, 1/3 that we're raising on the Stonehill side, opportunity zone. So this is not new to us. It's a different bucket of money, it's a different type of money, but all we do are hotels. And all we're doing in the opportunity zone fund is hotels. We manage several funds currently and have for years, so we decided to keep it in-house. If you're not, I'll share with you that you need to find someone. We're a multi-asset fund, although product specific, which adds another layer of competition to it. But personally, can't stress enough having someone that knows what they're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, find someone who does when it comes to. I mean, you can have a ton of great expertise in one-off products and developing deals, but I would encourage anybody to make sure they have someone that's going to help them manage the fund, if it's on a deal by deal basis.
Jim, you mentioned that you worked with Merrill Lynch. You've done a lot of capital raising in your lifetime. What did you kind of see?
Yeah, just to add to what Dana said, so coming from a real estate point of view, we've kind of hogged QOZ a little bit. It doesn't have to be a real estate investment, that's what I focus on. Dana as well. The real estate investment is going to be very ground up focused. That's a very different type of real estate investment than going in and buying a stabilized building, which you can't do in a QOZ fund. You've got the tax rules dictate that you have to add a lot of dollar improvement. So the skill set involved in ground up development, and Dana would agree, is very different from being a real estate manager of stabilized buildings. And so when I'm putting a fund in front of an institution or an RIA or a family office, I like to be able to boast of, and I can, that there's some pretty key developers as principals in the fund that have boots on the ground, multi-decade experience, like Stonehill does. And I think you really need that if you're going to invest in a real estate-centric fund, because of the nature of the type of deals going in there. And just to reiterate, ground up is complicated, different than buying a stabilized building, which is one of the assets that you can. So, developer-centric, developer-led, having a heavy developer background in ground up construction on the fund is very important.
Yeah, you also get, I think, you're getting a lot of people into the zone space that have, they're smaller fund. I mean, you guys have 70 people. You know, a lot of the people that are probably in the audience at this conference don't have 70-person teams managing their fund. So when you talk about being able to bring it in-house, my guess is the smaller teams, 2, 3, 5, 10 people, don't have the ability probably to do it in-house. You probably have to hire third-party administrators to help with fund management. It's not even feasible. And you're right, it's definitely not focused on investment, it's focused on development. And you start saying, okay, well, we're going to target developers, but we're going to make them hold it for 10 years. That's kind of counter. Doesn't match up very well. Usually developers like to get in and out of deals, so it takes a lot of, they're kind of wheeling and dealing in a lot of cases. So when you start having all these complex rules they got to follow, it makes it hard to do internally.
Absolutely. I think that from a fund development standpoint, it's important just simply because you have to keep in mind who the nature of your investors are, right? You're going to have a certain body of your investors are going to be your traditional outlets. They're going to look forward, they're going to vet, they're going to underwrite, they're going to hold due diligence. In some cases, if the funds are being broker-dealer, you've got RIAs, but then also you've got individual investors. And the point of the idea of a fund manager, and especially in real estate, most real estate deals already have this, but I also want to talk about the fund management, the importance of that in business and business investing, and being able to convey that to the individual investor who more than likely is going to come and find you and want to make an individual investment. And it goes to be able to create that transparency and that trustworthiness of the underlying fund itself. Because keep in mind, the funds have no performance history. You might have a performance history as a sponsor, but the fund itself doesn't have any. And so as an investor, you've got to be able to take a look at it and say, who, what, when, where, why, how, and do I get my money back? And who's managing this? And that's where I think the importance of the fund manager comes in. Just like I think the importance, besides just a fund manager, which would usually be a third-party entity in the case of fund development, I think it's also important to be able to, as a fund, when you're marketing your potential, developing relationships, key relationships specifically like with economic development agencies. And I'd love if you wouldn't mind kind of segueing into what you're kind of seeing in the economic development side of the house, and also what funds and how you guys can work together in promoting an opportunity fund and finding investors for that.
So I come from kind of a unique perspective because I really represent the rural part of America, which these projects and these zones, they look a lot different from what I've seen, in the arena today or since the inception of the program. And so we're competing kind of on a different level. And I told the gentleman earlier as we spoke, I've been very surprised that our offices have not received too many calls in regards to our opportunity zone and what exists out there. From my standpoint, what economic developers are able to do is they really make those connections that exist in their area, in their region, and that doesn't exist any more than it does, especially in the rural parts of America, because by and large, my office, we know personally these people that are in the planning departments and so on and so forth, property owners, etc., in these zones and in these areas. And when it comes to bringing these people together, we do it quite well, as a matter of fact. And so I'm not sure exactly what some of our counterparts in our economic developers in the urban areas. There was a panel here this morning representing Nevada, with Vegas and Carson City, and I'm not sure, we haven't had those conversations to see how many people are actually contacting them in order to to explore those zones and see what opportunities exist. But I know for us, we can make those connections happen out where we're at quite easily. And as a matter of fact, I think I heard somebody this morning talk about permitting taking 2 months. We have areas in our region that if you want to build a building in one of our counties, we can have you do it tomorrow. We can have you start tomorrow. I know that sounds ridiculous, but but come and talk to me. That it is possible, and I can't speak for all of rural America, but in rural Nevada, it is possible to start tomorrow. Not only that is perhaps I'm related to the planning coordinator, and that helps you out as well. Or I went to high school with them, and they owe me a favor type thing. Okay, so it's interesting. I guess what I'm getting at is there's things that data does not necessarily tell you. The data analytics panel was great here, and I'm a client of one of those companies. We use them. It's very important, but there's some things that data and analysis do not tell you. And I know up in our region, we're primarily a gold mining. Gold mining is very prevalent up in our region, and so I heard some folks talking and asking questions about the possible recession coming forward and how that could impact investments and so forth. We don't worry about that in rural Nevada where we're at because we have gold mines, and if there's a national recession, gold prices go up, and our economic structure there, our business goes through the roof. In 2008, 9, and 10, gold hit $1,800 an ounce, and we were doing great. And so I don't like to say we're recession-proof, but we are definitely insulated from those kind of things. That's not something you're necessarily going to get if you don't talk to an economic developer in the region who can tell you kind of the nature and the dynamics of what's going on in that zone and around that zone. So it's definitely important to talk to the economic development folks in those areas to try to get some insights as to what potential really exists in those areas.
I think what I want to do kind of to help drive this point home a little bit, and I know that Dana, we've kind of had a talk about a couple of companies, and we'll get into St. Louis and Missouri here in just a second, but I'd like to kind of do a quick survey to kind of drive the point home regarding the importance of the economic development agencies in this program. If you are an opportunity fund, do me a favor, raise your hand. All right. If you're an investor, do me a favor, raise your hand. Okay. As an investor, keep your hands raised just for a second. As an investor, would you be willing to invest in your own backyard if the deal was there? Absolutely. For the opportunity funds, for the few investors that we have in the room, I think it's important that when you look at who part of your investors are